How's the big peach?
No one calls it that.
Any end in sight?
It's rabbit hole after rabbit hole. What do you got?
Something I've been interested in lately is the use of blocking and composition to show the change in a relationship within a scene.
How's Holden?
So, for example, closing off two characters when they have an intimate moment.
Paul's bought a new jacket to impress you with.
And it's very simple, but effective. So with that in mind, let's look at this scene from Mindhunter between Dr. Wendy and Tench. Bill's story over the season deals with the aftermath after his child Brian participates in the killing of a toddler. In this scene, he tells Wendy that the divide of his now extended responsibilities at home and at work are driving a wedge between the two. And this balance of work and home is reflected in Wendy and Tench's relationship in the scene, as it moves from professional to personal. With the first shot of this scene, we establish a boundary between the two characters.
No one calls it that.
Any end in sight?
It's rabbit hole after rabbit hole. What do you got?
Applicants for you to review.
They talk about work in the same two shots, going back and forth, very routine, all with the boundary of the files making a wall between the two of them.
Half the people most of the time.
Sounds about right. And you?
4 days there, half a day here. Weekends trying to catch my breath. Feels like I never get anything done.
Go over the applicants next week. Maybe just take a look at the curriculum.
Then, as Wendy leaves, we break the 180 line and bring in a new shot, marking the change in conversation to something more personal. And it's worth noting that while the room is already established, Wendy crosses in front of the camera to help ease this transition.
Poor to be on our way. I appreciate you giving me space, but it's okay to ask.
Now when Wendy sits down, Tench leans away from the desk, around the binders, so that there's nothing physically breaking their conversation, and we cut into closer shots to show that the scene is becoming more personal.
In what respects?
He stopped talking. He doesn't play anymore. Brian should be throwing a baseball.
But where the scene gets really interesting is here.
Well, regression may be a normal part.
As Wendy brings out more technical terms, we get the quickest shot of the scene and the closest of Tench before he immediately sits back.
Brian was 3 when we got him.
At first it seems like he's drawing the conversation back. However, we then begin cutting over the files, and they continue talking about Brian. And for the first time in the scene, a slow zoom closes in on both of the characters, giving the impression that they're piecing things together.
And didn't tell anyone?
You said he was trying to help.
It was a helpless toddler. They just left him there. And Brian knew. He knew. Was this inside him when we got him? Or did we do something?
Bill, I know you. You didn't do this to him.
What's brilliant about this is that it takes their relationship throughout the scene from professional to personal and then back to professional, as well as the subtext of the scene about how Tench is now beginning to view his own child like a subject in their studies, and it replicates all of this within the camera.